You're listening to special coverage on the Civic Media Radio Network. WAUK Jackson, Milwaukee. WBZH Hayward. WISS Berlin, Oshkosh. WZBU New Holstein, Appleton. WLCX La Crosse. And WMDX Columbus, Madison. This is a Civic Media Network special report, the 2026 State of the Union Address. Our coverage begins now. Here is Civic Media host John Scott.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. President Trump is delivering the first speech of this kind in his second term. The origins of the address are found in the Constitution. He is constitutionally required to let Congress know what he's up to, but he doesn't have to give a speech. There were some long gaps. For example, between 1801 and 1913, there were no speeches given. They were written reports handed off to Congress. So a president could technically satisfy this obligation with a written message to Congress, but they obviously now use this TV, radio, and stream time to boast about and promote agendas and initiatives. Tonight, we will not be fact-checking this speech. No lists of lies or exaggerations. We will not be delivering counterpunches. We don't think this is good radio, and we don't believe it's helpful to you. We all know this president. We understand his communication style. We want you to hear his words. We trust your good judgment and we trust your ears. We encourage you to listen carefully and make decisions based on the president's words. Our talk shows will give you a forum tomorrow to ask questions if you're not sure of the answers. You will decide what the state of our union is. Two guests will be joining us for analysis tonight. Mark Becker, he's the host of Rational Revolution, heard Saturdays on the Civic Media Network. He's the former chairman of the Brown County Republican Party and a business owner in Wisconsin. Also, Howard Schwaber will join us. He's a professor of political science at UW-Madison. And joining me in studio for a couple of moments is Civic Media's Daybreak host, Jamie Martinson. Thanks for being here with me. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here. This is going to be quite the eventful evening, I think. If current circumstances in this country and watching anything over the last few days from this president, I think this is going to be quite the fiery speech from President Trump.
Some of the key themes we figure that he'll be talking about is affordability in the economy, his tariffs. Lots of buzzing about the tariffs lately. Iran. Will we attack? Will we invade? What will we do with Iran? And he'll tout many of his first-year accomplishments. We were watching, was it the president's YouTube channel? The White House's YouTube channel. They have an AI Donald Trump giving a speech with a cascading list of accomplishments. We were just watching that a few minutes ago. Pretty interesting. Mark Becker, thanks for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on with us tonight.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Now, we know...
Yeah,
we think we know what we're going to hear and see. But
yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, I think it's just going to be, it's typical Donald Trump. He's going to get up. It's going to be fiery. There's some advanced copies that the networks do have. So, he's going to talk about, he's going to make some very controversial comments about Minnesota and the ICE presence there and all of that. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be typical Trump. Someone's got to fact check it, but the fact checkers are going to be pretty darn tired, I think, when this is all said and done. One thing that I think is interesting is that we only saw like half of the Supreme Court here. I don't see the rest of them, and I think that's going to be interesting too, because we also know that one of the things he's going to do is he's going to kind of eviscerate them a little bit for slapping down his tariffs like a good shack block. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes as well.
Justice Neil Gorsuch had a scathing rebuttal to the Trump tariffs. And when I say scathing, it was almost not, it was just angry about how much he doesn't like it. But there'll be a lot of buzz about it. In fact, earlier this afternoon, I watched Tammy Baldwin, a senator of Wisconsin, watched a press
I
conference
love
with her.
Tammy.
Yep. And she had a gal from La Crosse County on who has a son with Down syndrome. And the Medicaid cuts that were promised by folks like Derek Van Orden and such that ultimately ended up being cuts are really going to hit her family, her husband, and her small business hard. Her Down syndrome son needs 24-hour care, and she's just literally scared to death about what's coming because not all the cuts have taken place yet. Do we think it's going to be a long speech, Jamie?
Yes. From reports that we've heard, so far we know that it is going to be long. The president himself has, at a podium earlier today and even on social media, has stated that this is going to be a, quote, very long speech. Now, what exactly that means, we don't know. Last year, I thought last year's State of the Union was a very lengthy State of the Union speech. So is it going to match that? I don't know. But from what we're hearing so far, we do know that he plans on being at the podium for quite some time to basically cover all of the things from his current agenda to what he's calling now a transformative midterm, as he sees this as kind of turning the page from what I'm understanding and what I've been reading today.
I think we established that the Supremes that aren't there weren't invited. Did Gorsuch was he just not available, or?
Those were the rumors
But
that
they were
I
invited.
heard.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's what I heard, that this administration would have preferred just the Supreme Court justices that agreed with the tariffs to come, even though it is a longstanding tradition for the Supreme Court to actually be there. I do. But again, there were four of them there tonight, Mark. I know you were watching a little closer than I was as we were preparing for our broadcast.
Where did Elena Kagan come down on that decision?
I believe, did I see her there? I believe I saw
She
her
was there,
stand.
yeah.
Okay.
She was there, yeah.
Okay. All right. And she agreed that she was one of the 6 who voted that the tariffs were unlawful in the way that the president was using them at the time.
So this is a bit of a rebuke then to that, if he preferred to have those justices there only. And I think, one thing I have in common with Donald Trump, I can't wait for the midterms. I'm so excited for them.
I see. Do I see Howard Schwaber, who is there on the screen now? Do we want to bring him into the conversation? There we go.
Let's bring him in. Howard Schwaber, professor of political science at UW-Madison. You made it back from the East Coast and from the snow, Howard. Congratulations.
Just made it. Just escaped the blizzard.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to join us.
Thank you.
We really enjoy having you. Any predictions about what we might see here or witness tonight from you?
Right. So, I mean, there's the obvious things, and you've all been walking through them, and they're in the release draft. The question for Trump always is, will there be surprises? Will he go off script? So there's 3 things that could happen. One, in a lot of his recent speeches, he's kind of started wandering and started unfocused in ways that have caused people to make, dire comments about his age. How will he look? For Biden, it was really important in his last State of the Union. He looked energetic, and that kept him in the race probably much longer than should have been. But just the way he looks will be watched carefully. Secondly, will he use this as a platform to announce something shocking? Maybe a military action in Iran, maybe an appointment, maybe a dismissal of somebody, who knows? And thirdly, will he go off script and start ranting? And he's capable of doing that. He is, whatever else he is, he's an extremely accomplished showman. He knows how to use a stage. He knows how to make an impression. So we have a sense of the script, and there's, it's pretty obvious the notes he has to hit and wants to hit. I'm looking to see if there are surprises.
The Sergeant of Arms has formally introduced the president as he's now in the chamber making his way down, being greeted by numerous.
Everyone wants a selfie.
They do. I'm also seeing several of the Republicans in MAGA hats in the chambers this evening. And several of the Democratic congresswomen you'll see are wearing white. They are doing this as an act of against the SAVE Act that Congress has that's passed the House. This is their way of showing their solidarity for voting rights, and especially the restrictions that the SAVE Act would put on women's right to vote.
Sign is being held in the background saying "Black people aren't apes." That's the same member of Congress that stood up and was kicked out of the speech last year.
Really? Democrats not facing him?
Democrats are not facing him, and a bunch of them aren't there. Many Democrats are skipping tonight's speech to attend the State of the Swamp event at the National Press Club or the People's State of the Union. There's a big rally on Washington's National Mall.
Did anybody just notice that when it came to the Supreme Court, the ones that were there, the only hand he shook was Justice Kavanaugh's?
Wow.
That was probably calculated.
Again, the themes we believe the president will hit on, amongst some other things, are his tariffs, Iran, touting his first-term accomplishments, among other things.
John Fetterman shaking his hand.
I saw that.
Making his way to the podium now, here's the President of the United States.
Members of Congress, I have the high privilege and distinct honor of presenting to you the President of the United States.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. It's really an honor. Speaker Johnson, Vice President Vance, First Lady of the United States. Second Lady of the United States. Members of Congress and my fellow Americans, our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before. Less than 5 months from now, our country will celebrate an epic milestone in American history, the 250th anniversary of our glorious American independence. This July 4th, we will mark 2.5 centuries of liberty and triumph, progress and freedom in the most incredible and exceptional nation ever to exist on the face of the earth. And you've seen nothing yet. We're going to do better and better and better. This is the golden age of America. When I last spoke in this chamber 12 months ago, I had just inherited a nation in crisis with a stagnant economy, inflation at record levels, a wide open border, horrendous recruitment for military and police, rampant crime at home, and wars and chaos all over the world. But tonight, after just 1 year, I can say with dignity and pride that we have achieved a transformation like no one has ever seen before, and a turnaround for the ages. It is indeed a turnaround for the ages. And we will never go back to where we were just a very short time ago. We're not going back. Today, our border is secure. Thank you. Today, our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before, and our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked, and America is respected again, perhaps like never before. After 4 years in which millions and millions of illegal aliens poured across our borders, totally unvetted and unchecked, we now have the strongest and most secure border in American history by far. In the past 9 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted to the United States. But we will always allow people to come in legally, people that will love our country and will work hard to maintain our country. The flow of deadly fentanyl across our border is down by a record 56% in 1 year. And last year, the murder rate saw its single largest decline in recorded history. This is the biggest decline, think of it, in recorded history, the lowest number in over 125 years, year 1900. In fact, substantially before my wonderful father, I had a wonderful father, Fred, before he was born, substantially before he was born. That's a long time ago. He wouldn't like me to say that, but that's a long time ago. The Biden administration and its allies in Congress gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country. But in 12 months, my administration has driven core inflation down to the lowest level in more than 5 years. And in the last 3 months of 2025, it was down to 1.7%. Gasoline, which reached a peak of over $6 a gallon in some states under my predecessor, it was quite honestly a disaster, is now below $2.30 a gallon in most states, and in some places, $1.99 a gallon. And when I visited the great state of Iowa just a few weeks ago, I even saw $1.85 a gallon for gasoline. Mortgage rates are the lowest in 4 years and falling fast, and the annual cost of a typical new mortgage is down almost $5,000 just since I took office. 1 year. And low interest rates will solve the Biden-created housing problem while at the same time protecting the values of those people who already own a house that really feel rich for the first time in their lives. We want to protect those values. We want to keep those values up. We're going to do both. And we are going to keep it that way. The stock market has set 53 all-time record highs since the election. Think of that, 1 year. Boosting pensions, 401ks, and retirement accounts for the millions and millions of Americans. They're all gaining. Everybody's up, way up. In 4 long years, the last administration got less than $1 trillion in new investment in the United States. And when I say less, substantially less. In 12 months, I secured commitments for more than $18 trillion pouring in from all over the globe. Think of it, much less than $1 trillion for 4 years versus much more than $18 trillion for 1 year. What a difference a president makes. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, the hottest. As thousands of new businesses are forming and factories, plants, and laboratories are being built, we have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a very short period of time. It's getting bigger and bigger and stronger. Nobody can believe what they're watching. American oil production is up by more than 600,000 barrels a day, and we just received from our new friend and partner, Venezuela, more than 80 million barrels of oil. American natural gas production is at an all-time high because I kept my promise to drill, baby, drill. More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. Think about that. Any time in the history of our country, more working today, and 100% of all jobs created under my administration have been in the private sector. We ended DEI in America. We cut a record number of job-killing regulations, and in 1 year we have lifted 2.4 million Americans, a record, off of food stamps. And for all of these reasons, I say tonight, members of Congress, the state of our union is strong. Our country is winning again. In fact, we're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country. Until you came along, we're just always losing, but now we're winning too much. And I say, no, 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 you're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in. Go ahead. That's the first time I've ever seen them get up. And actually, not all of them did get up. But they beat a fantastic Canadian team in overtime, as everybody saw, as did the American women who will soon be coming to the White House. They were in the Oval Office before, and I just want to say a second very big congratulations to Team USA. But I have to say that, and I told them this, and we took a vote of the team. I said, anybody votes no, I'm not doing it. So they stood there, and they weren't about to say no, because I've never seen a goaltender play as well as goalie Connor Hellebuck. Think of it, 46 shots on goal, and I asked him, the one shot, the one where you put your stick in the back and it hit the neck of your stick and bounced off, do you practice that, or was that a little lucky? He refused to answer that question. But I just want to tell you that the members of this great hockey squad will be very happy to hear, based on their vote and my vote, and in this case my vote was more important, that I will soon be presenting Connor with our highest civilian honor, which we will be given and which has been given to many athletes over the years. But when I say many, not too many, like 12, it's called the highest civilian honor in our country, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Great athletes have gotten that, very great, the best, and I thought he deserved it. And I did take a vote, every single one of them. I said, I'm not giving it if anybody goes no, and every single one of them rapidly put up their hand. So I want to thank you. What a special job you did. What special champions you are. Thank you very much. I'm also pleased to say that the next time the Olympic torch is lit, it will be here in America for the 2028 Olympics, and it's the summer version right in Los Angeles. We're going to do a good job in Los Angeles. And Los Angeles is going to be safe, just like Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest cities in the country. And this year, and I must say I got them both. I got them in my first term, and I was disappointed because I didn't think I'd be the president when this happened. But strange things took place. And now I've got them because I got the Olympics and I got the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and I wanted to claim the 250th, but I didn't get away with that one. I couldn't claim that one for myself. But we're getting the World Cup, so we have the World Cup and the Olympics coming, and that is exciting news. So this will be a year to celebrate our country and the heroes who have kept it free. Men like Buddy Taggart. At age 17, Buddy volunteered to defend America in World War II, serving in the Pacific under the great General Douglas MacArthur. He fought bravely in the famous Battle of Manila, worked so hard. He was badly wounded and almost killed by enemy machine guns in Luzon. And 81 years ago this month, he liberated the largest internment camp in the Philippines, one of the largest anywhere in the world. But he earned many honors, including a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star, came home, started a family, and tonight he is in the gallery looking forward to July 4th, 2026, his 100th birthday. So, Buddy, you're a brave man, and we salute you. Even in times of challenge, setback, and immense heartache, the spirit of 1776 has always shone through very brightly. It was July 4th of last year when floodwaters tore through a girls' summer camp in Central Texas, one of the worst things I've ever seen. I was there, rising 26 feet in the matter of minutes, tragically claiming many, many lives. You all remember that one. As the waters threatened to sweep her away, 11-year-old Millie Kate McClelland closed her eyes and prayed to God. She thought she was going to die. Those prayers were answered when Coast Guard rescue swimmer Scott Ruskin descended from a helicopter above. Nobody knew where he came from. It was Scott's first ever rescue mission, a young guy, but very brave, very, very top, always top in his class. And he lifted not just Millie Kate, but 164 others to safety. People watched Scott from a distance, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The winds were blowing, the rain was pouring, everything was going, and that rapid water, nobody's ever seen anything like it. They said, wow, that's something. Tonight, Scott and Millie Kate are here together, reunited for the very first time. Thank you, Scott, Millie Kate. And Petty Officer Ruskin, I'm pleased to inform you that I am now awarding you the Legion of Merit for extraordinary heroism, which is what it was, extraordinary heroism. Thank you. And I'd like to have the military aide to please come down and take care of the service. Military aide, thank you very much. Take care of that very important service. Thank you very much. From 1776 to today, every generation of Americans has stepped forward to defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they're really doing it for the next generation. But now it's our turn. Together we're building a nation where every child has the chance to reach higher and go further, where government answers to the people, not the powerful, and where the interests of hardworking American citizens are always our first and ultimate concern. That is the debt we owe to the heroes who came before us, and that is the promise we must keep to America for our 250th year. Last year, I urged this Congress to begin the mission by passing the largest tax cuts in American history, and our Republican majorities delivered so beautifully. Thank you, Republicans. All Democrats, every single one of them, voted against these really important and very necessary massive tax cuts. They wanted large-scale tax increases to hurt the people instead. But we held strong, and with the great, big, beautiful bill, we gave you no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. And we also made interest on auto loans tax deductible the first time, but only if the car is made in America. Recently in Pennsylvania, I met Megan Hemhauser, a devoted mom who's homeschools her children, beautiful, 2 children, during the day while waiting tables at night as her husband works overtime operating very heavy equipment. Megan is here this evening, and she's happy to tell you that she is so much richer because with no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and our expanded child tax credit done again by Republicans, Megan and her husband will take home more than $5,000 extra just for the year, cutting her tax bill in more than half. Megan, please stand up. We're fighting for you, Megan. Thank you, Megan. Thank you, Megan. We're fighting for you, Megan. Under our bill, parents like Megan can also activate their children's brand new Trump accounts. And I didn't name it. I did not name that. Nobody believes me, but I did not name it. It was named by a very tall man sitting right there in the third row. Nice man, a good man. Tax-free investment accounts for every American child. This is something that's so special and has taken off and gone through the roof. Millions will be pre-funded courtesy of the U.S. Treasury and private individuals like Michael and Susan Dell, who have donated $6.25 billion to fund the Trump accounts for 25 million American children. They're great people. When I asked Michael Dell, how do you make all that money? He said, well, I just sat on my dorm in school and I made computers and I'd sell them to people. And I just kept selling and selling and selling. And pretty amazing story. That's called the American dream. He sold a lot of computers, a lot of those laptops. So I congratulate him on that. But I really thank him and Susan, as well as others like Brad Gerstner, a very tremendous guy. He was behind it right from the beginning. Brad Gerstner. Thank you, Brad. So with modest additional contributions, these young people's accounts could grow to over $100,000 or more by the time they turn 18. Think of it, how much money is that for somebody that started with nothing? Over 100,000, could be much more than that. To make this investment in our children's future, go to trumpaccounts.gov, trumpaccounts.gov. And a lot of people are doing it. It's setting every record in the book. It's popular. They knew what it was going to take. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of the people that got it started. And now it's just taken off. One of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us so badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it. And yet these countries are now happy, and so are we. We made deals. The deals are all done. And they're happy. They're not making money like they used to, but we're making a lot of money. There was no inflation, tremendous growth, and the big story was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly, and 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong. They got it really wrong. And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling. But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful, country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace-protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love. Right? Moving forward, factories, jobs, investment, and trillions of dollars will continue pouring into the United States of America because we finally have a president who puts America first. I put America first. I love America. For decades before I came along, we had the exact opposite. From trade to healthcare, from energy to immigration, everything was stolen and rigged in order to drain the wealth out of the productive, hardworking people who make our country great, who make our country run. Under Biden and his corrupt partners in Congress and beyond, it reached a breaking point with the Green New scam, open borders for everyone. They poured in by the millions and millions from prisons, from mental institutions. They were murderers, 11,888 murders. They came into our country. You allowed that to happen. And record-setting inflation that cost the typical family $34,000 in just a speck of time. Now the same people in this chamber who voted for those disasters suddenly use the word affordability, a word. They just used it. Somebody gave it to them, knowing full well that they caused and created the increased prices that all of our citizens had to endure. You caused that problem. You caused that problem. They knew their statements were a lie. They knew it. They knew their statements were a dirty, rotten lie. Their policies created the high prices. Our policies are rapidly ending them. We are doing really well. Those prices are plummeting downward. The price of eggs is down 60%, Madam Secretary, thank you. The cost of chicken, butter, fruit, hotels, automobiles, rent is lower today than when I took office by a lot. And even beef, which was very high, is starting to come down significantly. Just hold on a little while, we're getting it down. And soon you will see numbers that few people would think were possible to achieve just a short time ago. Nobody can believe when they see the kind of numbers, and especially energy, when they see energy going down to numbers like that, they cannot believe it. It's like another big tax cut. I'm also confronting one of the biggest ripoffs of our times, the crushing cost of health care caused by you. Since the passage of the Unaffordable Care Act, sometimes referred to as Obamacare, big insurance companies have gotten rich. It was meant for the insurance companies, not for the people. With our government giving them hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars a year as their stock prices soared 1,000, 1,200, 1,400, and even 1,700%, like nothing else. That's why I introduced the great health care plan. I want to stop all payments to big insurance companies and instead give that money directly to the people so they can buy their own health care, which will be better health care at a much lower cost. In addition, my plan requires maximum price transparency. That's a big deal. Sounds so simple, so big. And I did that in my first term, and the Democrats immediately terminated it with full knowledge that they were doing a very bad thing for the people. Costs were going to go way up, and that's what happened. And now I'm bringing them way down on health care and everything else. I'm also ending the wildly inflated cost of prescription drugs like has never happened before. Other presidents tried to do it, but they never could. They tried. Most didn't try, actually. But they tried. They said they tried. They couldn't do it. They didn't even come close. They were all talk and no action, but I got it done. Under my just enacted most favored nation agreements, Americans who have for decades paid by far the highest prices of any nation anywhere in the world for prescription drugs will now pay the lowest price anywhere in the world for drugs. Anywhere. The lowest price.
What you've just heard is a highlight of an incomplete speech not yet completed in the House chamber of the President of the United States. We're joined by a couple of guests. Howard Schwabers, professor of political science at UW-Madison. Mark Becker, he's one of our guys. He's the host of Rational Revolution, heard every Saturday on the Civic Media Network. He's a former chairman of the Brown County Republican Party and a business owner. And Jamie Martinson is here in studio with us. She's the co-host of Daybreak with Brian Noonan on the Civic Media Network. We'll start by going around the room. We'll begin with you, Howard. What did you think?
So a couple things. The performance is excellent. He's, so far at least, disciplined, on script, hitting all the points that he wants to hit, getting all the names right. I mean, he seems completely in command. So on the performance scale, outstanding. A couple of interesting things. The specific reference to no congressional action being needed on tariffs. That's a huge leap to Mike Johnson. We'll see whether it stands, but that's a message. We're going to push this ahead with executive orders, and y'all in Congress, you don't have to own this. And that's, for them, a wonderful thing. Two other things, and I'll pass the baton, although I'm happy to talk more. One, this healthcare plan we just heard about. It's not the first time we've heard it, but it's gigantic. No details, of course, whatsoever. No explanations of any kind. No explanations of how it will happen. It's on the one hand pie in the sky. It's on the other hand unbelievably, it's beyond bold. It would be incredibly reckless if he actually tried to do it. And so there's that to watch. And the last thing, of course, is he's trying to bend reality. He's really, in a way, trying to do the same thing Biden tried to do, which is persuade people that the economy is better than they perceive it to be by insisting that everything is great and getting better, and everything that was bad was the other guy's fault. I was a little startled at just how harsh his language toward Democrats was. I thought this might be an occasion where he tried to play the statesman a little bit more. But no, he got right in there and came out swinging. So high points on performance. I don't know that the reality bending thing will work. People tend to be very down to earth and immediate about their perceptions of the economy. If you say the price of chicken is down and I don't feel that it's down, I might not trust you for other statements that you make. And some pretty wild promises already, and I presume more to come.
Trump's tariffs are enormously unpopular. A new ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll taken before the Supreme Court decision found that 64% of Americans disapprove of Trump's handling of tariffs. Mark Becker, your thoughts on the speech that we heard so far?
And I'd love to hear Howard's take on this too. But I think one of the most frustrating and disheartening things that I've seen about this administration now this time around, but also the first time around, is just the destruction of all of the closely held norms that we've had. And I think, the tone was set by having only part of the Supreme Court in attendance tonight, and just the dark finger pointing and blaming, the tone. He's on message. He's energized, but it's just an ugly tone that he set. It's not something that we should be surprised at, but this is particularly dark as well.
Jamie Martinson, your thoughts?
Sorry.
I think
We'll come back to you, Howard.
Yeah, sorry.
No. You're fine. I think what we heard is exactly what a lot of us thought we were going to hear.
Yeah.
I agree with Mark that the tone is very dark. I'm actually not surprised based on how this president came swinging out of the gate just a few days ago after that Supreme Court decision on the tariffs. I also thought that speech took a dark tone, and I'm not surprised
Yes.
by the rhetoric that he's using tonight, especially against the Democrats, especially against people that he feels have wronged him, going all the way back to the Supreme Court, Biden,
You
the
saw what he said about
Democrats, so on and
Obamacare.
so on. Yeah.
Yeah, you are to blame. What?
Yeah.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I absolutely agree. And again, and also agree that it wasn't a surprise. I mean, just thinking this from his own terms, right? The risk is not that he'll go too dark for his supporters and his base.
Right.
I don't think there is too dark for them. I don't think there's any such thing. Naming enemies and calling them worthy of hatred is his stock in trade. But he really came hard on everything that was perfect. And that's a tough one to sell. He could have kept the dark and maybe toned down the sunshine a little, but we're having so much winning, people can hardly stand it. That's a real old classic from a while ago.
Yeah.
Remember that from the first time? I haven't heard
Yes.
that particular. You'll be tired of winning so much. I haven't heard that one in a while.
Please, Mr. President, we can't win anymore.
Yeah,
I'm going to force winning down your throat.
I don't think that plays well. I've also seen poll numbers just in the last 2 days. There's a reason his approval rating is cratering down to 32%. People know that it is not the case they're only deporting murderers. And anyone who's listening carefully might have realized that 11,000, even taking that number at face value, whatever that number is, 11,000, alleged murders out of 11 million immigrants is not actually a large number. So I think that's the part that I really don't think is going to sell well. And that's the part that he needs to sell well to turn this thing around. He's had 2 weeks of really rough news in the polling data, in the Supreme Court opinion, in defections by leading Republicans, in negative columns in the Wall Street Journal and from Fox News. He's had a tough couple of weeks. He needs to turn things around. And I would be very surprised if this kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, pie in the sky will do. The reality is, don't believe your lying eyes. Everything is perfect. Everything was hell a year ago. Please don't look to your memory for anything different. And right now you're making tons of money. Please don't look at your paycheck. I can't believe that that's going to work.
I think you look at Trump 1.0. All of this like pie in the sky. Don't believe what you can see. It works up until you're hit in the face with reality. Trumpism worked up until COVID, something that was true, that was real, that lying you couldn't lie your way through. And I think that's what we're seeing right now in the economy with tariffs and all of that stuff. It doesn't work.
And the president addressed that. Zamer's cut number one. Here he is talking about the borders and inflation and some other things.
Today, our border is secure. Our spirit is restored. Inflation is plummeting. Incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. And our enemies are scared. Our military and police are stacked. And America is respected again, perhaps like never before.
He also talked about the biggest tax cut in American history. Our current deficit is $696,997,192,257,000.
That's it?
Nothing. Chump change.
They're fine.
I think the thing that I keep going back to is when we talk about these polling numbers, he's cratering amongst not only a lot of Republicans, but the independents. And I can't imagine that what we heard so far tonight is going to play well amongst the independents. And again, I mean, Mark and Howard pointed out, this is the pie in the sky, but this is what this administration does. Look over here at the shining object, not what's actually happening. And you see that time and time again from the president all the way down to all of his cabinet members as well. And I think as this night wears on, I think you're going to hear a lot more of that. You're going to hear the doom and gloom from more as this progresses.
He
didn't hit Minnesota yet.
In our remaining moment, everybody, one more quick thought. Howard?
Exactly. He has not yet done the it's all of my enemies. We must chase down these evil, horrible, anti-American deviants. That's coming. The really hard, dark stuff is coming. I'm guessing toward the end of the speech. And he's hoping that I believe the strategy is He's hoping people will not look back and think too hard about the excessive rainbows and sunshine from before.
And a quick final thought, please, Mark.
My final thought is we are better than this. We have to be better than this. This is the dark before the dawn, and we have to be better.
Our guests have been Howard Schwaber from UW-Madison, Jamie Martinson, co-host of Daybreak on the Civic Media Network, and the host of Rational Revolution, Mark Becker. I'm John Scott. Thank you for joining us for our coverage tonight on the Civic Media Network.
You've been listening to a special broadcast of the State of the Union on the Civic Media Network. We now return you to regular programming.